Wildcrafted black walnut, green hull. It goes on and on. Wildcrafted wormwood. A lot of this is multi-thousand-year-old stuff that kicks out parasites and garbage in your body, from bad bacteria to worms, you name it. Most, the medical science doesn't want you to even think about this or deal with this, but 90% of the world has parasites. They want you to just get sick and then have to go to them, in my view. Well, Living Defense, we only had one run of it, and it sold out in 2 days because I guess it's just such a good deal, and all the nutraceutical experts out there flipped out over it. So I ordered triple the order. Well, then it took 6 months to get more of all the herbs in because we want to pass California standards. It's really hard to get 27 ingredients and have them pass California standards. That's nearly impossible. They wrote it to make it almost impossible. Well, we've done it, and I thought we'd have a month's supply. It's going to be sold out by tomorrow. If I keep discounting it, 25% out of the gates. I'm getting rid of the discount tonight at midnight. It's programmed into the shopping cart, and then we'll hopefully have a few thousand bottles that last until more comes in, with it being $10 more. But I sincerely doubt that. And sign up for auto ship and get 10% off all the other discounts that are already there, and free shipping on any order of $50 or more at InfoWarsStore.com. That's the big umbrella site. InfoWarsLife.com takes you directly to the nutraceutical area. And we also have the whole longevity line. When you buy it at InfoWarsHealth.com, you get the biggest discounts as well on that whole family of products. And a small portion of the profit goes to help fund this operation as well. And believe me, this is a standalone operation funded by selling products. Not so much off sponsorship. Talk radio is collapsing. We're expanding in the face of a depression, not just in media, but in culture in general and in the economy, because we have to. Believe me, I don't want to risk everything and put on all sale and dump everything into and just max everything out. But I'm actually hiring more camera people, editors, stuff like that, even though in the future we may not be able to keep them. We're going to go back to our guest now. It's just that it's very important you spread the word about the broadcast. The system's doing everything it can to censor people, to shut down this type of speech. They've pulled out the stops to try to buy off talk radio locally and kick people off affiliates. Big money's getting spent to do that. I mean, there is a lot of ominous stuff going on. And so it's very important, whether it's this show or others, don't take stories and news articles and information for granted. Don't take the news up on drudgereport.com for granted, where he's breaking the electronic Berlin Wall. They don't want you to know Hillary ordered the stand down when she was still at the State Department on an investigation of this mosque, or that Obama ordered one 2 years ago and had a criminal investigation of FBI agents in San Bernardino. That's in this article, with the proof, with the whistleblowers. Okay? And WorldNet Daily broke this yesterday. It didn't get any attention. We expanded the article, Drudge linked to it. The point is that this is a serious battle. Now, I want to go to our guest. Again, the website is enemiesforeignanddomestic.com. Matt Bracken, former Navy SEAL, author, who has really predicted this Tet 2 Islamic rollout. So I want to go through some questions for you and then go through some of these clips and talk about the cowardice of some folks. We have a clip of a guy who went on the news and talked about how he survived, how he blocked the door so other people couldn't get out, so the shooter couldn't get him. And I mean, this really is a liberal for you. I mean, I've got to tell you, they are some nasty people on average. They have major studies out that they're 6 times more likely. This is government studies in England and Canada to not give money, to claim they give to charity. They are 6 times more likely to steal. They are many times more likely not to render aid, because they're not real liberals, folks. They're fake, monstrous people. But I'm digressing. Matt Bracken, going back to the $64 trillion question, the sensationalism of the fact that Obama addresses Islamicists in Cairo in his first major speech. They said it was better than their top imams. Goes to the madrasas. His father, I believe, was Frank Marshall Davis, a communist, and he admittedly stayed at Summers with him, so his grandpa's best friend, the communist pornographer. He seems to, hate the West. I mean, who is this guy? What is the end game? This weird alliance between the left and Islam. Where is it going? What do you expect to happen? What do you think of my parallel to the Vichy French?
Well, I think that it's apt, and I think that the EU, you can just draw a line right through this entire century, at least going back to this Calgary plan. This fellow that was, preaching the abolition of nationalities step by step, starting with the European Union. They have to destroy the nation state. There can't be Austrians that are proud to be Austrians. Their goal is to wreck Germany, wreck Austria, wreck France. That's why one of the most important things probably in the last generation that's happened in Europe is this referendum next week in England, the Brexit. If Brexit happens, the EU is probably dead. So this is an existential moment for the monsters in Brussels like President Junckers. These are dictators. The European Parliament is nothing. It's just a rubber stamp for secret councils that make the laws that Europeans have to live by. But I was watching a lot of the Bilderberg coverage. Your affiliated reporter, Paul Joseph Watson, is amazing. Anybody should go back and watch any of his YouTube videos. He's brilliant. He was on the scene there. Now I'm going to tie Bilderberg to what we're talking about in Orlando directly. General Petraeus is one of the sellouts, the lackeys, the stooges that was invited to come over and lick the hands of the super elites at Bilderberg. Now he's joining up forces with other gun controllers. There he is. He's joining up with the other gun controllers to disarm us. This traitor, General Petraeus, this traitor, this enemy of the Constitution, General Petraeus, I want to say something to you and people like you. You took an oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. First Amendment, Second Amendment, all of the amendments. And you are working for the Saudis now indirectly through this global hedge fund, KKR, where you're making millions of dollars on commissions and you're getting paid for doing work like your Washington Post article about why we shouldn't insult Islam because it makes them upset and they might attack us. He's preaching surrender to Sharia law because he's making millions of dollars. In what universe is that not treason? He might be a retired general and he might be a retired CIA director, but in my book,
it is. Look, when foreign powers start buying off people of influence, it's called espionage. It's called infiltration. We used to execute people if they did that with the Russians. And that's what's crazy about this. For folks that don't know, it got overshadowed. They shot it Saturday live. Sunday, it was going viral, but then, of course, the sad shooting. And to understand the video, General Petraeus is walking out. He's not even running yet. And Germans start talking to him that are aware of who he is in Bilderberg. So he runs from them and literally runs so that he won't be identified inside this meeting that violates the Logan Act. And so this is purely disgusting. And the word is Petraeus wasn't going along with the globalist and was an attempt to bring balance between the Army and the CIA. But when they were able to get him with the secret files at his house, he basically rolled over to him so that they wouldn't give him prison time. But it doesn't matter. I mean, it's so disgusting to see him under their control.
The treason is so wound through this administration, the high-ranking parts of this government. You know about Philip Haney. He has a book out called See Something, Say Nothing. There's another book, very important, by a former subject matter expert on Islamic Jihad named Stephen Coughlin, called Catastrophic Failure, Blindfolding America in the Face of Jihad. He was the go-to man on Islamic Jihad until the Obama administration. He had a brief which was named by the people that heard it the Red Pill Brief, a reference to the Matrix, because when people listened to Stephen Coughlin's briefs, then they understood it. When the Fort Hood shooting happened, people said to Stephen Coughlin, did you speak to this guy? Did you collaborate? Because in his briefs that he was giving, Major Hassan, the Fort Hood shooter, he was using the same slides you were using. And Stephen Coughlin's reply was, no, these are the key surahs from the Quran. So if he was using them, I was using them because I understand how they think. This is what they're thinking. Well, he was thrown out of being a lecturer to the CIA, the Pentagon, the Joint Chiefs, and Obama had the entire American law enforcement and intelligence agencies purged of any mentions of Islamic Jihad.
It's incredible. I want to play the clip since you mentioned it. The video's up on Infowars.com. This is Rob Dew chasing Petraeus, and this cuts in during the chase. First, they go up and talk to him, and he literally cuts and runs. Here is the former head of the CIA running from reporters in Dresden.
One quick question, General Petraeus. You had to resign as a result of an email scandal, yet Hillary Clinton is still running for president, even though she's got this massive email scandal with people hacking her. Do you think she should resign from the Democratic Party? Just one quick question, sir.
That's from the middle. Here's where he comes out. Germans come over and start talking to him. We now are aware of what's really going on, general public. And then, boom, he hightails it.
Hey, sir.
We're going to go ahead and keep rolling this. I'm sorry, go ahead. Is your audio cutting out there, Mr. Bracken? Sorry, go ahead.
I hope that the video that sticks to him like stink on rice is the video of that sniveling coward traitor running away. He is a man that took an oath to defend our Constitution, and he's lining his pockets with millions of dollars of bribes from Saudi Arabia, laundered through a global hedge fund. Doesn't have any background in finance. It's supposed to be his Rolodex, his connection.
Sure. I understand that. So breaking this down, he's just emblematic. He's emblematic of this. What do we do? Where does this go? What is the Saudi endgame? Yes, they bought off our government to a great extent.
The reason I'm hammering on Petraeus so much is we need to identify traitors, call them out, and hang traitor around their neck. Running away at Bilderberg is brilliant, and thank you, InfoWars, for getting that.
Why do you think the wicked flee when none pursue?
General.
Why do you think the wicked flee when none pursue?
Yeah.
It's crazy. All right, Mr. Bracken, stay there. He is fired up today, former Navy SEAL, on with us a month ago, predicting that these Tet offensive style attacks would begin. He'll come back and we'll take some calls from Mark and Marguerite and Diane. Here's the headline. Far from a hero, Orlando attack survivor describes harrowing escape. And who knows if it's even true. This guy, turns out, said one of these little actors. But what trendy isn't trying to be an actor? His anger was consistent to have in their own life. They're actors. Orlando gunman's ex-coworker talks to Kelly File. A survivor of last night's shooting in Orlando tells the Kelly File to describe the body and the bloody carnage that unfolded. Louis Burbano. Well, let's actually hear from him himself and then start going to your phone calls with our guest. Here it is.
When you were holding the doors shut so that the shooter could not get out, but was there any concern that, you might be keeping people fleeing the shooter from getting out there?
No, yeah. I was...
being told what to say.
I was on my mind.
He's looking on his phone. He's looking at his phone.
There was pushing of the door. I was on my mind. But at that point in time, I just tried doing what I thought would be best at that moment. Because it was getting louder and getting closer, and I looked to my left, there was a good 20 people piling on top of each other, trying to exit out a small closet-looking door to the parking lot. And I prayed that it was nobody trying to escape, and if they did, if they hid, if they got stuck, and you don't know what to do until that happens. And I just thought I was doing the right thing.
Talk about a robot head.
About getting trampled, in other words. So many people were coming in.
He's got earphones in. He's reading what someone's telling him to say.
I wanted everyone to...
This is who America is now, a bunch of zombies.
My goal was making sure my best friend and these people had space, because panic and chaos was not allowing everyone to get through there.
Yeah, these nightclubs are death traps. All right, that's enough of this. We're going to go to break. This is a short segment. Longer segments are coming up in the next hour. I'm going to go to Chad and Robert and Alex and Marguerite and Diane and others. But going back to our guest, Mr. Bracken, other tidbits you haven't added that you think are important to impart. And I want to ask you about his brother-in-law that's a major player with Obama, bringing in, quote, refugees, is an anti-Trump guy, and all the rest of it. I mean, this is really getting crazy. And this judge is part of La Raza and part of a boycott of Trump, and he comes out and says, you should recuse yourself, and they spin that saying Trump's being racist. I mean, this is just crazy.
This is a war for our minds. This is the AJ show. This is a war for your mind. I don't want to come off like I'm only here to attack General Petraeus, but I think it's very important to point out clear traitors that took an oath and defy it. But I also want to throw some support to people that deserve it. We all know about like Pam Geller getting taken off of Facebook, but I mean, I think she can afford security, or at least more than the guy I'm about to talk about. There's an American up in Virginia with a counter-jihad website. He's another author. He's an old guy. He's even older than me, real old, named Ed Klein with a C. And he's on the ISIS kill list, all right? The FBI visited him and said, hey, buddy, you're on the ISIS kill list. He told his landlord, and his landlord's evicting him. This is like a real financial hardship.
What an incredible nation of cowards. I have to say it. We have become a spoiled, rotten nation of filth that don't even know the people we inherited this country from. And people think it's a virtue to be cowards.
He doesn't recognize Virginia anymore. He's moving to Texas, where he thinks he has a better shot at